Hey Starseeds, welcome back. Okay, today we're going to be making a one-pot vegan lasagna. It's supposed to be much easier than the conventional way of making lasagna. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is that we are going to be using, obviously, vegan mince meat in this delicious lasagna. I am going to be using a dehydrated soy mince. But for those of you living abroad, if you're in the States or any other country where you have access to soy-free soy mince, you can also make this recipe soya-free, okay? So you can use any kind of vegan mince that's in the freezer, any kind of vegetable protein that you guys desire, okay? So let's get into the video. So since I don't have access to soy-free vegan meat, I'm using a dehydrated soya mince that needs to be hydrated in water. So I use 250 grams of dehydrated soya mince in about a liter of hot water, and I let it sit in there for 20 minutes. Obviously, if you're not using dehydrated soya mince and you're using something frozen, you can totally skip the step of hydrating your soya mince, obviously. Okay, so let's jump right into it. The first thing you're going to do is you are going to take some olive oil and place it inside of your pot of choice. Make sure that your saucepan is non-stick. You don't want your lasagna to be sticking to the bottom of the pan. We're adding in 2 onions. Add in 2 cloves of garlic, or how many cloves as you like. Now I might be overdoing it here, but I'm adding in 500 grams of chopped mushrooms. Now we're gonna throw in all our spices, and I don't want any comments regarding the amount of cinnamon that I am putting in this recipe. Let's do it. Sea salt, black pepper, some cinnamon. Yes, cinnamon, people. You're gonna give this a nice good mix. Oh yes. And you're gonna let all of those flavors combine together, and you're gonna let the onions cook with the mushrooms and the garlic and all these wonderful spices for about 6 or 7 minutes. So you probably noticed that this is like the laziest way that you can make the lasagna. Yes, I'm crowding the mushrooms. Yes, I've chopped everything and just plunked everything together in a pot. That is the point, because we don't have time sometimes to cook everything separately and properly, okay? This is still gonna be a very delicious vegan lasagna one-pot meal, I promise you. So we're now adding in the soy mince, and we're gonna let this cook, okay, until all the water is evaporated. At first, we're gonna give it a really good mix. And you're gonna cook this on high until all the water is evaporated, and then I'll see you guys in a few minutes. So you see how there's some water here at the bottom of the pot? You wanna make sure that that is all evaporated. There's my little baby. So it took about 10 minutes for all the water to evaporate from the pot, and now we're gonna go ahead and add in the tomato sauce. So I have 2 cans of 680 grams. I am going to add in 1.5. Just pour it in, 1.5 of these babies. And now we're just gonna mix it up. Oh yeah. And you're gonna cook this until the meat gets nice and thick, and a lot of the water still needs to evaporate. So we're just gonna cook that for another 15 minutes or so. So by the way, while it's cooking down and getting nice and thick, I'm also gonna add in a good amount of dried oregano. Just mix that in. This is gonna give a lot of flavor to our dish. So while our sauce is cooking down, we are going to make the filling. Now the filling, obviously, of lasagna is the meat sauce and also some grated cheese. And also, in this case, we're gonna be making a white cheesy filling made with vegan cream cheese, vegan grated cheese, and some feta, just to give it a little bit of a kick. So let's get all of this in a bowl and add some soy milk or milk of your choice and get it nice and creamy. So basically, I'm using 150 grams of grated vegan cheese. I'm using 150 grams of feta, and I'm using 150 grams of vegan cream cheese as well. Okay, you could use more than this. You could actually double this recipe, and then you would get an even more thicker white cheese layer. So what we're gonna do is, with your fingers, you need to break up the feta. This is vegan feta, by the way. I don't know if you can find it where you live. If you can't find it, don't worry about it. You can just leave it out and use the cream cheese, vegan cream cheese, and vegan grated cheese together. So just find it easier to squish all the ingredients up with my hands. kind of like I'm making a dough instead of using a spoon. And then we're gonna add in some vegan milk just to thin it out a little bit. So guys, it's hard to say how much milk you're gonna put into this. You just sort of have to eyeball it. But I'm gonna try and measure it out for you. So I'm using soy milk because I like the creaminess of it, but it's organic, of course. You can use anything else that you like oat milk or rice milk. So I'm adding in 1/4 cup of milk into this cheesy goodness. And then I'm just going to mix it up and try and incorporate all of the milk into the cheese, okay? I'm adding in about another tablespoon of milk, giving it a stir. So I'm adding in a little bit of sea salt just for some extra flavor. Also gonna go in with some dried oregano and also some black pepper. Give it a mix. Give it a nice mix. So the cheese is ready and we set it aside because now that our minced meat has cooked down quite a bit, we are going to take out half of the minced meat and put it into this bowl because remember, we have to layer the lasagna, right? We don't want all of the meat to be on the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out half of the mince mixture. So I'm taking out a good half of it. Looks delicious. So this is our base. We're starting off, so now we're gonna layer our lasagna, okay? We're starting off with meat sauce, and this is our first layer of meat here. So I've got my lasagna here, and what I'm gonna do is break these up into pieces so that we can start layering the lasagna. For those of you who want gluten-free lasagna, you can go ahead and use gluten-free in this recipe, but you're not gonna be able to use it as a one-pot meal. You're gonna have to boil these separately, okay? Because I guess they take longer to cook. So these, they're not gluten-free and they will steam very well inside the one pot, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and just break, the lasagna into pieces. So we're smoothing out the first layer of meat because we are about to add the lasagna. Okay, make sure that's nice and smooth. And then we're just gonna go ahead and add the lasagna. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just set it all down. Try to use those smaller pieces for the sides. So I've covered the first layer with lasagna. As you can see, it's not perfect, but it doesn't matter. So now we're gonna go ahead and add in the cheese on top. For me, this is the trickiest part because you need to sort of distribute the cheese on top of the lasagna, and you know, you don't want to be moving the lasagna too much around. So I tried to distribute the cheese as evenly as possible, and then I'm just gonna go on top for an extra cheesiness and add in a little bit of grated cheese. And then we're gonna go in once again with the layer of meat sauce. Just like that. And then we're going in with the lasagna once again. So we're putting in all of the cheese that's left. So now I'm adding once again some grated cheese, like this. So finally we're adding in the last layer of meat sauce. Oh yeah. I like using the back of the spoon to just distribute it like this. So before we add in the last ingredient, which is the grated cheese, we are going to add some fresh oregano. Just add that in for extra flavor. And then we are going in with a whole lot of grated cheese. Just plunk it on top like that. So now that we've layered our lasagna, we're gonna cook this for about 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes on medium heat. And please make sure you're using a non-stick pot, otherwise your lasagna will probably burn at the bottom. So we're putting the lid on and we're gonna cook it. So it's been 30 minutes and our lasagna is ready and we are going to cut into it. Oh my Lord. So the lasagna is really hot, which is why it's a little bit sloppy, but if you let it cool down just a little bit, it'll be nice and firm and you'll be able to get nice, good pieces out of it. Okay, I can taste the oregano in there. And I love the taste of the mushrooms as well. The mushrooms really add a lot of flavor to this dish. It's just delicious. It's simply delicious. So the last time I made this recipe, my family devoured the lasagna in like half a day. It was all gone. So I'm sure they're gonna enjoy it again today. If you enjoyed the video, guys, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe, because we are here every single Wednesdays and Sundays giving you really delicious, I believe, in my opinion, plant-based goodness. So we hope to see you guys soon. And for those of you who are talking to me on Instagram and messaging me and leaving comments on YouTube, I love you for it. I love engaging with you guys. I love getting to know you. And don't stop, because it makes me really happy. So I'll see you guys next time.